So, yeah, I couldn't wait. It's Romania Black, and I after episode 12, I couldn't wait. I could not wait. I know I have been, if you watched last week's episode, you know that I've been prepping for the cooking for today's episode. But I could not. After I was done prepping, I was like, I really need to watch episode 13. But I'm so excited. Last week, episodes 11 and 12 have been amazing. And we finally got Fallon back. Everything seemed all hunky-dory. Like, we rescued Fallon, we resurrected her. Who cares if we use some ancient forbidden elf magic? What could go wrong? And then at the end of the episode, it's like, oh, things are going really good. Like, really good. So does that mean there's going to be a little snag? And the little snag is that the elf from back in the paintings episode where Laios time traveled into the paintings has seen the dark forbidden magic and is probably like, what are we doing? So what are we going to do about this? And are there any side effects of, we've seen that Fallon's magic is like completely back and better than ever. And so it's like, is this because of Fallon herself? Is this because of the resurrection with the dragon blood? Is this because of the resurrection magic itself? Is it because of Marcille's lesbian love? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know for sure. So I'm really excited and I couldn't wait to watch this episode. So I will get back to your comments next week, at least for episodes 10 and 11. So we'll get back on track on that. But I just couldn't wait. I wanted to see what was going to happen next. And so here we are. But before we start and figure out where we go to from here, I want to give a big shout out to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon, because I don't use Patreon funds to buy the food that I use for the recipes, because it's food I'm going to eat. So it seems like just groceries. So I don't do that. However, the immersion blender that I used for the pumpkin soup episode, and the any equipment that I get that's brand new to use, which has been like the immersion blender, and I haven't had too many new purchases of equipment, but just like some like, you know, kitchen shears and stuff like that I've used in the kitchen have been funded by Patreon. And so you all have helped me get equipment that I would use for the cooking videos, and I really appreciate that, including the camera that I use and so on and so forth. That's what I use those funds for, is to be able to do these extra things in the videos, and I feel like that helps make the reactions and the discussion better. So the philanthropy tier goes above and beyond what the other two tiers do, which I'm super grateful for anybody that supports me. Whether you support me through YouTube, giving me views and commenting and helping the algorithm, or whether you help just donate $1 or $5 a month, that's awesome. But the philanthropy tier donate an extra $5 a month, and they help me in so many ways. So part of that, you know, giving thanks to them is to shout them out in my videos. So to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Be Happy, to Bryant Reed, to Dana, to Damage3245, to Danny Donmai, to Devorin, to Destiny Marie, to Ichu, to Eric, to Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, El Freya, Liam Polses, as well as Lyndon, Matthew Palfinier, Nicholas Nago, Sunspots, Shimoyama, Starman AA, Shimoyama Trails, Translucent Men. To all of you, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. All of my love. So yeah, I really like Fallon's character. I like her character a lot. I like that she's a really great foil to Marcille. Marcelle's character jumped up a lot for me last week. When we found out that Marcille knows some dark magic, I was like, oh ho ho, okay, all right, Marcille, get it, girl. I'm like, her character jumped up a lot for me, and then I'm sorry, but Laios, I was thinking about this today, and that Laios' character surprises me because we could argue he is our main protagonist of the group, although they all kind of share equal screen time. But I do feel like it's so interesting. I grew up with shonen like Bleach and Naruto and One Piece, which in One Piece, Luffy doesn't really have objectively a, you know, main squeeze, although that is debatable by the ships, I'm sure. But with Bleach and Naruto, there were some clear evident ships where they were like, they had, you know, the characters that you could ship them with. With Laios, other than my crack ship of of Kabru, where they haven't really even talked to one another yet. It's literally a crack ship. Other than the crack ship, there's not really anybody I would ship Laios with. I mean, people have talked about Chilchuck and talked about Senshi, and I totally get those ships. If you ship Laios with either of them, I totally get it. But I kind of love the platonic sibling in-law energy that Laios and Marcille have. And last episode, it was so good. Like, Laios and Marcille sibling in-law dynamics, just living for it. So the big question as we start this episode is, are we getting a new OP, or are we keeping the one that we already had? And we will find out. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoy this reaction and discussion, but we are going to start episode 13 of Delicious in Dungeon, and we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and I'll see you all on the other side. All right. Are we getting a new... Okay, we're keeping the same one for right now. Maybe we're going to keep it all the way through. I mean, if we keep it all the way through, I'm totally fine with that, because this is one of those openings that I don't feel is... You could argue that it's touched base on different pieces of the series so far and different parts of the dungeon, different levels and characters. But you could also argue that it's not one of those OPs that is, you know, giving away parts of the plot as you go. I don't like seeing Fallon by herself in the darkness. And she's this beacon of light, right? Because she literally is like a beacon of light. But what do we do with that? Unite, lesbians! I'm curious about what Laios and Fallon are both going towards. Yeah, and there's that one. Uh-huh. Huh. Da-na-na-na-na. Okay. I thought for a second we had the dub instead of the sub. Wow, that is a lot of meat to process. Aww. Aww. So cute. Oh. Oh. What we doing, Fallon? Did you just jump out the window? Oh. Oh, she even spooked off the ghosts. What? 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 I'm sorry, what? 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 How did Senshi not know she took off? Is she... How did she jump down? What? Oh, what is happening? What? Oh my God. What is this? But, oh my God. What? What? Oh my God. What are you doing? Oh! 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 Oh my God! Oh! Oh! Oh my God! Oh shit! What is this? Oh my God! Yeah, no, I got a bad feeling about it too! Oh my God, what is this? Oh my God, no! Oh my God, oh no! Oh shit! Oh. Oh my God. What is happening? We went to like from 1 to 120 in 10 seconds. They're like the little dinosaurs in Jurassic Park 2. No. I never connected that they were the magician. Oh my God. Oh my God. Marcille. Ah! Sushi! Oh my God, what? Oh my God. Not the dragon ham! Oh my God. Oh shit. No! No! What about Fallon? Shit! Oh my God. Oh. What? Oh my God. What? What? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no, it's like Star Wars. No, no, it is like Star Wars. Oh no, close it. Don't let it happen. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh my God. Ah. Oh. What? What? Why did the ghost save them? Get out of there, Senshi! Oh my god! Chilchuck is saving you! Oh! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, all the ghosts. Shit! Shit! Woo. Woo. I think Laios is on top of Marcille! Oh my god! Ah! No! Oh my god! Oh, and they're from the OP. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. No! No! Keep talking, Senshi. Keep talking. Oh. The vegetable seller! Well, that's because of the bath. Well. Ah. Oh. What is it? Oh no! Is this like hair of the dog? Oh no! We're not making that. Well. No! She's like, I don't know, please, no, I'm awake. I'm fine. We don't have to resuscitate me that way. It's great. No! No! Oh my god. Like, why is her first kiss an orc kiss? No! Oh. That's the one. Ooh, yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. He creates monsters. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a very big problem. Oh my god. Uh-huh. 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 Oh my god. So this whole thing with Fallon. We're going to talk about this in discussion, but this is terrifying. How? Ooh. Ooh, Senshi. Yes, exactly. Senshi's not one for lying, though. Oh. Hmm. No. Spinelessness. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Are you really leaving, Chilchuck? Ooh. Right. Ooh. Oh! Oh my God! Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh. I mean, I get why we talked about this last episode, but I get why Chilchuck's leaving, but are you really gonna leave? About that. Well, it did already. Oh. Well. Yeah. Yeah, the one you're leaving. Uh-huh. Oh, the dogs. Uh-huh. Oh my God, this episode is insane. This episode is insane. Well, you didn't on your own. You all work together. If she finds out that it's his sister and you're ditching them. Uh, it still took courage to do that. Ah! Him viewing Laios that way. Oh my God. Mm. But what were you stubborn? Yeah. Ooh. Oh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. As you should. Hmm. The frog suits. Well. Yeah, man, Marcille. Oh, she's not as clueless as she seems. Oh! Hmm. Oh. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh, are you? Are you, Chilchuck? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh. Kinsuke. Kinsuke. Herm. Herm. Oh, no. Oh. 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 Ooh. Oh. 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 Chilchuck's tears. Oh my God. I'm sorry? Excuse me? Excuse me? Well, 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 well. It's fine. It's fine. It was too good to be true. It was too damn good to be true, wasn't it? Huh. Hum. I have so many theories and questions, and we're going to have to spend this discussion talking about it. So I hope you all are ready for that. Oh my God. Oh my God. So the phrase "now we're cooking with fire," does that apply here? um my God. Last episode, I was like, we're halfway through the season and we've rescued Fallon and we did the thing. We resurrected Fallon. We did the thing. Everything seems all nice and dandy. And where are we going to go to from here? Sorry, Laios, but your sister's in another castle. I give this show so much credit because when they did the whole lunatic magician thing, they showed us a tall man, a human. They showed us a human, a tall man, and it did not register in my brain for a second that it was the elf. It just didn't. And I'm sure some reactors were like, "Oh, the purple-eyed elf is the magician." I'm sure some of the reactors figured it out like that. They just instantly knew. Good for them. But I was one of the ones that I thought the elf was maybe like, psychopathic or crazy because they had lost their king, Delgal. As we'll talk about, they had lost their king. But I did not take them to be the lunatic magician that had created the entire dungeon, but it all makes sense. It all makes sense. And one of the morals of this series that the last episode epitomized so well that translates to this follow-up episode is the idea that people will do insane things for love. And if that elf loved Delgal or Chegal or whoever the king was, and then they were killed and they think Laios is responsible of it, would an elf be crazy enough to create a giant dungeon and chain everyone's souls to it if it meant trying to resurrect or save their king? Yeah, they would, because would an elf use ancient forbidden magic to resurrect their potential girlfriend? Yeah, they would, and they did. So, and then the whole thing with the red dragon, everything started clicking in place during the reaction. At least I think I've connected the dots. I'm sure I'm going to give you all my theories and you're going to be like, "You've connected shit." And I'm going to be like, I'm like that meme. I'm like, "I've connected the dots. I figured it all out." And you all are going to be like, "No, bitch." No. But I kept having all these like aha moments throughout the reaction. And I was like, "Oh, but you couldn't stop and talk about it because then all this stuff was happening." Oh, friend. Friends, this series was just going along a little roller coaster ride, and it was just like this series was one of those roller coaster rides that like you see at a county fair. It's not the kid caterpillar roller coaster, but it's like the little dragon that goes around. You're like, yeah, this is a pretty good time. We just bumped up to like the Six Flags Batman ride, and you're just flipping over upside down. That's where we're at. My brother is going to have a field day when I tell him tomorrow. We're supposed to cook tomorrow. I did the prep work for episode 12 that y'all watched last week. I did the prep work tonight for that. And then my brother is coming over tomorrow to help me cook for this episode, as you will see later on this episode. I'll have a different shirt on. But we're going to cook tomorrow, and I'm going to be like, and he's probably just going to be like, "Yeah." Because he can't tell me things. All right, so let's go through this episode. The good news is we're still caught up on food. We're going to be making the pizza and the steak and doing all that good stuff. I'm not, like I said during last week's cooking segment, I'm not making the oxtail soup because oxtail is just really hard to find in my area. And plus we've made soups already in this series. I think we've souped out for now. But I don't think I'm going to be making the orc concoction anytime soon. We'll talk about that. I saw a frog leg sticking out of that. I was like, "Oh no, hair of the dog indeed." Although I feel so bad for Senshi. Senshi went to all this work curing this dragon meat, went through all that trouble getting an Oregon Trail ready, and then it ends up getting soaked back into the dragon itself, and we'll talk about that. There is a part of me though that wonders if the magician elf is able to control the dragon, which it seems to be. They've all ate part of the dragon, so in a sense, can the elf control them? Although, here's the thing. If we're thinking about it realistically, they've ate part of the dragon, but theoretically, that's going to pass in approximately 24 to 72 hours. That's going to be out of their system. And so then at that point, they won't be able to be controlled by the elf. So that's good. That's good. I did think about that when we saw the dragon meat rolling into there. I'm like, are they going to be able to control Senshi and them because they ate the dragon meat? But it'll be out of their system by then. Although it's not out of Fallon's system, which we're going to talk about. But yeah. So some of you may be questioning, how in the fudge did Senshi not sense Fallon getting up and leaving and crawling out the window? How did they not sense that? And while I think that could be a point of contention in the story, how did Senshi not sense it? I will say one thing the series has done a very good job in doing is making the characters not Mary or Gary stews. They are very flawed, right? And as much as I love Senshi, and as much as I care for Senshi's character, Senshi is a flawed character. He sticks by we've seen him and Marcille come to blows because of his personality. We've seen how he's very rigid in his way. He is the Ron Swanson of Dungeon Meshi. But also, Senshi gets really kind of hyper-focused into what he's doing, and he kind of tunes out everything else. So if you're telling me that Fallon managed to sneak past him while he was absorbed in curing the dragon meat, I would believe you. I would honestly believe you, because that seems to be legit. But I do love, I want to imagine that Chilchuck was like, I'm getting my own cot. I'm not sharing a bed with Laios. Although Laios is a bigger guy than Fallon and Marcille. We had one scene. We got one scene, damn it. I was able to have one scene with Marcille and Fallon just having this moment, being blonde lovers, having their fantasy, and then this series just had to just take it away from me. How dare you? How dare you, show? How dare you? Lesbian rights. What are you doing? This elf is homophobic and must go! I'm joking. But, so, here's the thing. There are questions we have to ask, right? We have to ask questions. The elf, we have come to realize, is the lunatic magician. Is the magician. We're going to talk about them and their whole MO and what's happening with their character, because they're going through some things. But here's the thing. We have established that they use magic. They use ancient magic. They use ancient magic to create and control these red dragons. Now, as far as we know, the red dragons are the only monsters that they can create and control. That's all we've seen so far. We've not seen them create. What they created out of their magic from their book look like little red dragons, which they were also made from the blood of the little red dragons. Can they create other monsters? Maybe, but we don't know that for sure yet. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem, is the fact that the red dragon was slain by our crew. But then the problem was that red dragon, here's the problem. The red dragon was slain. In the process, before it was slain, it had eaten Fallon. All right. Who was a magical prodigy. That's going to come into play and be important, right? So then they were slain, but then their blood was used, their blood and flesh were used as part of a way of resurrecting Fallon, right? So essentially the soul and mind of Fallon is still there, but the flesh and blood of the dragon is now there as well. Well, guess what? If that elf can control the things that it creates, and it created the red dragon, guess what Fallon is now? Fallon's the red dragon! So Fallon is got the blood of the dragon in them. So when they wake up, the elf is like, I couldn't help but notice this ancient forbidden magic was used to do something with my dragon that I made. what's the deal? Well, where are you, dragon? You've been killed, but something has come from you. And so it's like, chop chop, come here. And then like a trance, Fallon is called and forced to go back to the elf, right? Correct? And they jumped out of the window. Now, we know Fallon is strong, and they walk past, and the ghosts on this level, I thought it was interesting, they said the ghosts on this level are all sane, and they're all tied to everything, and they basically only show up when they want to just guide people, right? Or have something to do. I don't know if these ghosts of these specific spirits are ghosts of the royal family, because some of them have like, one of them has long hair and has like the sleeves and everything. Are these ghosts of the royal family that are skulking around and the elves kept them around as company? We don't know. We don't know how that works. But Fallon is called and says, there you are. What is with your form? I thought I assigned you the task of searching for his majesty. And I don't recall permitting you to take a break. Now the question is, you could ask the question of but the elf wouldn't have hired Fallon beforehand because they said, what's with that form? So the elf is talking about the dragon, not about Fallon specifically. The elf is saying, I have given the dragon the task of finding the king. Correct? Now, here's something else that could be connected to that, right? Something connected to that is, did the dragon eat Fallon because they are related to the king? I am still under the mindset, because of how they look and how their dad looks, especially because their dad looks a lot like Chagel, a lot like Dragal, a lot like the king. Just saying. The family resemblance is there. And they're on this tiny little island, it seems, where I don't think the gene pool carries out that much. I feel like the tree don't branch very far, if you know what I mean. So I'm wondering if the dragon did find Laios and Fallon, since they were the blood of the king descended, however this plays out, and was like, oh, there you are, and tried to get them, and then Laios managed to escape, and Fallon got her brother away because she didn't want him to get eaten as well. I don't know. Again, I'm throwing a lot of theories out there. We will find out. The show will tell us what the answers are. Maybe not this season. Might be a season 2 reveal, but these questions are going to be answered at some point, right? Because the manga's completed. They're going to finish the answers for us. So we just got to be patient and let the show answer. But I've got these theories. So obviously the elf is like, I sent you Red Dragon to find the king. I didn't tell you could take a break. Well, now the elf's crazy, right? So the elf does not care that the dragon has been resurrected into Fallon and using Fallon's brain and soul. Elf doesn't care about that. The elf's like, you're using my blood from my monster. You're now mine. You're now my lackey. The idea that Fallon now has to work for the lunatic elf as its red dragon. I was not expecting this at all. I was not expecting the lunatic elf magician to be using Fallon as a lackey now, because Fallon's also got super strong magic. So, now it's making Fallon its minion. And the thing that's so crazy is that we know Fallon, that they are this kind-hearted, timid, and very sweet-natured individual that wants to help all the creatures, right? All the creatures, all the ghosts. Now, is there something to that? Is there something to Fallon being like, because we've seen Fallon be kind and considerate to all of the ghosts in the dungeon and has been kind and considerate to all the monsters. Is there something about that with Fallon's nature that has ties to something beyond just what we've seen so far? Is there something with Fallon's past that leads to that? Because we've seen the cemetery scene, but that's the only flashback we've had. So are there other things with Fallon's past we don't know about yet that tie to her character and why she's like this? The thing about it is, Fallon's character is kind of, at this point, sort of submissive, even though she's way too strong and doesn't need to be submissive. So that kind of is perfect in this scenario because it lends to the elf using her as a minion, because she'd be like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go along with this because I don't have a choice. And at some point, I feel like it's going to be tested because she's so like shaken up in this moment. She's not really thinking. And when she pushes her brother back, I think it was just reactive. She wasn't thinking about what she was doing. And I think she's going to freak out about that in the future and be like, I pushed you away. I hurt you, whatever. So, but I think there's also a part of her that doesn't want Laios to get hurt by the elf either. So it was like an instinctual, you need to get away from this elf, get back. So the big question is, when Laios and them come in contact with Fallon again, which we'll talk about later, what is that going to be like? Are they going to have to fight Fallon? And possibly, is Fallon going to possibly have to be fought by them after they went through all this trouble to save her because they need to stop the lunatic magician? The magician's going to use her to fight them. It's going to, oh my God. Why? So anyway, Laios is like, did you know that Fallon took off? And he's like, nope, I was messing with my dragon meat. And he's like, where did she go? And so then we find the dragon has just like all of the flesh and blood has totally disintegrated off of the dragon. It's completely like melted down into this pool of blood that Fallon is in the middle of, which seems to be by design. The elf is just like trying to get all this magic absorbed to create others. I feel so bad for Fallon because Fallon doesn't understand. He's like, are you okay? And then Kinsuke starts reacting, which now it makes sense, right? We talked about Kinsuke reacting in the last episode. I'm like, oh, Kinsuke's reacting to Fallon because Fallon has the dragon blood and she's a monster now. Well, yeah, she kind of is. So, he's like, what happened here? And she's like, Lord Delgal, I have to look for him. So Delgal, yep. Delgal is the one that we have to look for. So the question is, how much is Fallon controlled by the elf? Because it seems like part of Fallon's mind is being controlled by the elf now. And since Fallon's blood is literally the blood of the dragon that the elf created and is controlling, it's controlling what Fallon is thinking, which is that the stakes just rose tremendously. The stakes are huge now, because now they not only have to rescue Fallon from the clutches of the lunatic elf, but they have to try to get Fallon to have her autonomy back to where she's not being controlled by the elf or not thinking things that aren't her own thoughts. And he's like, well, who's Delgal? And then the elf, I thought the elf was a woman. So I have misgendered said elf. Although the elf is voiced by the same voice actress as, I think, Hanji? I think. It sounded like them. It sounded like a voice actress who's done male voices before. But I thought it was a female elf. I was wrong. That's fine. Everything that exists on this earth, every building, gold coin, citizen, cattle, blood, flesh, oh my God, and even the grain of sand beneath your feet, okay, belongs to His Majesty King Delgal. This elf has gone. Whoop, whoop. Huckleberry is trying to assassinate White Boar Coon because of this toy. So here's the thing: King Delgal is dead. Has been dead for moons, right? So why is this elf looking for a king that's been dead since the paintings? Like, for all this time? Or is it their soul that we're looking for? Is their soul, did the elf try to keep the soul in the dungeon by creating the dungeon so that it couldn't escape? Is it trying to resurrect the king? The elf is interesting, and if you told me the elf is just crazy and has gone mad with power and loneliness, I would believe that. But then it's like, well, how do you defeat them? And what do you convince them of? And where do you go to from here? So, because then Laios is like, what the fudge? And he's like, who are you? The elf is intimidating as hell and terrifying. I'm sure when we watched that painting episode, you all were like, Can't believe it's the magician. Cannot believe. You dirty thief. And then Laios like, I remember spotting you. Skulking inside the paintings. And then Laios is like, King, what is going on inside the paintings? So yeah, who are you and what is your purpose? Okay. So then the question is, what is Laios's purpose? Why are they here? What is their purpose? And we see what was interesting was usually like a magician, usually someone that is a magician, I always picture in the story starting out as the magician and always being the magician. But that did not seem to be the case with the elf, because the elf started out being like a minstrel, and then they were doing like little tasks and stuff and seemed like an advisor, but there never was a spell book, there was never a staff, it was never any of the markers that would lead you to believe, oh, they're a magician. No, it wasn't there, so I didn't think that. And then it's like, oh, okay, no. And the thing about it is, the idea that they ask, what is your purpose for being here? What was the purpose of you being in the paintings? Why were you there? You know, Laios could be like, we were just looking for some food. But I feel like this all ties to Laios's, the question that Senshi and them have been asking him is like, what is the point of you being in this dungeon? Why are you here? What was the point of you doing this? What's the point of you going on a quest? I know you're on the quest now to find Fallon, which they did, and they're going to keep having to do. But Senshi being like, what was your point of coming down before you had to rescue Fallon? What was the point of being in the dungeon? And Laios never really answered that question. So I feel like now the elf is being like, well, what was the point of you coming here? And it's like, well, you've set up your own time loop. So like, what was the point? Yeah. Cause then you see the elf there, like looking around and them seeing him and saying, he's the lord of the dungeon, the lunatic magician. And then Marcelle's like, back, bitch! I think it's really hilarious and amazing that the two elf characters are the ones that are insanely in love and doing crazy magical things to protect the people that they love. I think it's amazing because my experience with elves in stories is like Lord of the Rings, where they're very elegant and mindful and demure, and oh, maybe there's an occasional roguish elf who wishes for love against all the wishes of the other elves and all their knowledge and whatever. But you usually don't see, at least what I've seen, you usually don't see elves in literature and fantasy being like the emotionally unstable ones. It'd be like watching a Vulcan be extremely emotional and unstable, right? But here you have Marcelle and the other elf that are just absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for the people that they care about. And I like Marcelle being like, step back away from them. Marcelle, you should have shot that elf dead when you had the chance. Should have done that when you had the chance. But no, but they call, and then this elf calls them usurpers, and Laios is like, what the fudge is up with this guy? And then it's like Fallon. But the problem is, Fallon has the blood of the dragon in them, and they can't control it. So the dragon blood is literally controlling them, and makes Laios leave as she pushes him back, which is a problem. I mean, do I think at some point that Laios is going to find Fallon again, and it's going to be not necessarily talk no jutsu, but sibling no jutsu, where Laios is like, you're my sister and I love you. I don't care if you have dragon blood in you. You're my sister and we brought you back and I'm going to always be here for you. Yeah, I think that that's going to happen, but I feel like there's so much that is left unsaid. Like, why was Fallon pushing Laios away in the first place? Why, did Fallon want to be her own person and not depend on Laios? Like, there was something unspoken there with their relationship that the show hasn't told us yet, that it's going to at some point. So I'm really excited for that to happen. But yeah. And Chilchuck's like, what is going on? Is that guy an adventurer? No, it's a freaking mage. And it has like a book with biblically accurate angels on it, which means you should probably run away. And Marcelle's like, shit, the book. It is the lunatic magician. Also, the book has like an I and the letter 8, which their I also got kind of the same symbol in it. So all this ancient elven magic. Now the question is, did the elf also gain this magic after losing Delgal and forging into the dark arts out of the fact that they had, lost the love of their life. Because I think that's why, I think they lost the love of their life, and that's why they've gone off the deep end. Also, funny last episode, we're like, dark elves, when's the next time we're going to see one of those? And then, here we go. Yep. I do want to point out when they bring the little tiny dragons out of the blood, they looked like, have you ever seen Jurassic Park 2? Not Jurassic World 2. No. We're talking like the 1999 Jurassic Park 2, where at the very beginning, they're on the beach and there's little tiny baby raptors. Like, they're not raptors, but they're like little miniature versions of them. That's what it reminded me of. I was instantly thinking of that scene. Also, good to know that Marcille is absolutely horny on main for dark magic. I swear, Marcelle's character has jumped up so much for me in the last 2 episodes, where Marcelle's like, I am all about this magic. Marcelle's like, I want to know more about the dungeon. So we come to find out that Laios' purpose, obviously connected to his sister, right? I feel like with Senshi, it's obviously the monsters and the meals, but there's also a sense of preservation of the dungeon itself and the environment that it's created, right? Chilchuck would like to have you believe this episode that he's going to leave because it's not profitable for him. He's trying to pull into Mari and say, I'm just here for the money. But at the end of the day, he is here for his friends and wants to do right by them, which is very sweet. We'll talk about him this episode. But then Marcille, aside from getting some blonde on the side, some blonde brownie on the side, she also wants to know the secrets of the dungeon magic. And I mean, of course, Marcille and Laios' interests have become intertwined, as now Laios and Marcille both have a common interest. We have the magic of the elf, but we also have Fallon, who's being controlled by the dark elf. So we've got to rescue her from all of this. I want to make note, too, that there is the idea that there is like an eating connotation, since we are delicious in dungeon. The elf says devour to the dragon babies. So there is that tie to that as well. But man, I love Marcille, like, trying to ward them off, using the blood on the staff, getting all badass and trying to ward them off, but there's just too many at once, right? There's too many dragons coming at her at once. The ancient magic. And her saying, she's like, the ancient magic, I can understand and decipher it, but I'm being overwhelmed by it. And she starts to get like the nose. I like that the blood on her face also comes across as a nosebleed. She's like, there's just too much of it all at once. Well, girl, I think Fallon would overwhelm you at this point, because she is just all magic dragon blood at this point that y'all got her. She's like, I can't keep up with it. And I like that it pans over to Senshi, and he grabbed like 2 of them like they were chickens. Like, we're going to take these and go? Or we can kebab them? Damn it. But then he sees his poor boneless dragon hams that he spent so long curing just immediately go back into the bubbly dragon's blood soup, which is great. But poor Marcille saying, are you the maker of this dungeon? I want to have a chat with you. And then the elf's like, nope. We are not here to talk. No more chatting. And then they just dissolve back. Like, I liked that the dungeon, when it swallows them up, it looks like a mouth eating them alive. Everything is food themed in this show. Oh my God. So then their eyes cease being like the hourglasses or the 8s and go back. And then, of course, poor Fallon. I feel so bad for Fallon, because Fallon literally was eaten by a dragon, was resurrected by a could-be girlfriend, has been taken over and controlled by an evil elf. What is Fallon to do? Her autonomy is completely gone. And then the ghosts show up, which is interesting. There's these 3 specific ghosts that show up. And the elf's like, no, it's fine. We don't have to fear at all. The traitors have gone. And says his majesty will return soon. Which I'm like, elf, I don't know how you think that, because that king's been gone for how many hundreds of years? Like, you got all the dark circles under your eyes. Like, what? How do you figure that? When he does, we'll hold a grand celebration. And then it says dragon. So yeah, it recognizes Fallon as the dragon because Fallon has the blood of the dragon. As far as the elf knows, Fallon is not even a thing. The elf doesn't even recognize Fallon as an individual. The elf just recognizes that Fallon has the blood of the dragon, and that's all it knows her as, which is insane. And then says, this form's inconvenient for you. I'll provide you with a new one. I feel so, like when did we get into, I mean, we kind of did get into body horror last episode with reviving Fallon, but the elf is literally transforming Fallon probably back into the dragon. Probably back into the dragon. So it's like body horror, and we don't even get to see it, which is terrifying. But yeah, it has all the blood like coming up around her. And then says, do what needs to be done. And then poor Fallon is like brainwashed and just doing whatever the elf says because literally she's 90% dragon blood. Oh my God. Like the fact she's probably turned into a dragon, which is like, is she going to get attacked by other people in the dungeon? Is she going to kill other people in the dungeon without realizing? That's the thing too, because her whole MO is that she doesn't want to attack anybody or kill anybody. So is the elf going to make her kill against her will? And that's the last thing that Fallon would want to do. Is Laios going to have to tell her that, be like, are you killing people when that's not what my sister would want to do? And are they going to be like, it's not your sister anymore, it's literally the dragon blood, but her soul's in there, or her mind's in there? Steaks. They're not just for eating, like we're going to do today. They're also what has jumped up in this series. Ah! So then, basically, we have a moment from Star Wars where they get crowded on there, and I love the idea that Marcille, like, managed to find... The ghosts helped her, though. Like, they were gonna die, but then the ghosts ended up helping her. She's like, this isn't my first time dying, but she's like, I was just reunited with Fallon, and we took a step closer to unraveling the dungeon's mysteries, and now we're gonna die. But the ghosts ended up saving her, right? And then Laios and them got through the hole in the wall. Again, I feel like it says a lot about Chilchuck's character. As much as he doesn't want to admit it, Chilchuck was the last to go. He made sure since she got through the hole before he did. So Chilchuck may want to say he's a coward, and he may want to pretend like he's only doing this for the money, but he made sure everybody else got through that hole and did not leave anybody behind. So Chilchuck's got a good heart. He just doesn't want to admit it. But another theory is the ghosts ended up saving them, right? So if we go under the assumption that the elf is crazy because they've lost the king that they loved and they've gone crazy, and they're just like, the king's going to come back, everything's going to be fine, even though that's not the case, and that's not possible. Could it be that the ghosts, recognize that the elf is crazy and the ghosts are trying to help Marcille and the others find a way to stop the elf? Because they're like, hey, we've been dead a while, and our ghostly selves are tired of being chained here. Can y'all help us defeat this elf so we can rest in peace? Just saying. I think that's a very likely possibility. So yeah. So they get down there as I'm like coughing up a storm. And we see where the orcs have attacked. The orcs have they've hung up their clothes there, and there's like an axe and stuff there. And then they end up showing up. What's curious is that all of these ghosts of the town are surrounding them like, hey, help us out, right? Please and thank you. I'm curious if these are all like ghosts from the painting, the original people, and the elf has forced them to stay around. So much going on. So then we get the orc sister. The dogs are so cute. The little orc dogs, they look like they're the big jowls. They look like the dogs that are from the Harry Potter movie, the first one. They look like the big giant, like, not wolf hounds, but they're like just big mastiffs. They're so huge. I love them. They're so cute, these little orc dogs. I love them. But I really love the design of Zahn's sister. I think she looks great. I love her blue eyes. I love her pale hair. I love her outfit. I love the multicolored like animal pelts that are around the skirt. She's like such a great character. I love her in this episode. And I love what she represents of just trying to like she sees through Chilchuck, and so she spends the episode walking back being like, oh, okay, you don't like your friends, you're gonna leave them behind. Okay, sure, all right, okay, sure, you won't change your mind along the way. I can't imagine why you would. And then she does the whole thing where she basically guides Chilchuck through realizing that he doesn't want to leave him behind, right? I love her character. She's great. I also love when at first she has a little like Care Bear smile on her face. She's like, I've never killed an elf before. This series balances morbidity and humor. Like, it's so good. I love it. Also, poor Chilchuck nearly getting fed to the dogs. It was great. But yeah, I love that. I love the continuity as well, that they didn't recognize Senshi at first because his beard was washed when they did the water walking and everything. So how Senshi smelled, the orcs couldn't detect it anymore, so they didn't know it was Senshi. I also like the idea that it kind of goes across the whole idea of like not being able to tell races apart in this case of this series, because like the orcs can't tell. They couldn't tell that Senshi was Senshi because he just looked like a dwarf to them, and they couldn't tell it apart until they smelled the beard, and they're like, oh, you're the vegetable seller. Uh-huh. To be fair, Senshi does have a helmet on, so his distinguishable features are few and far between. And so then the sister finds out that the chief had made them promise to take down the red dragon, which we come to find out the reason for that was because the chief was afraid if they attacked the red dragon, the lunatic magician would show up. So he was like, you guys take care of it. I don't know if the lunatic magician shows up, you guys will find a way to handle it, right? They kind of got swindled into that deal, to be honest. Which, okay, we get the idea of the orc concoction, which is a mushroom, a frog leg, earthworms, sludge, plant. No, we're not making this. I think our pizza and steak will do us well instead. But damn, I did not think I would see Laios making out with a woman in this series. Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I love that Marcelle's like, this is not the woman I wanted to make out with. And I did not want my first kiss to be hair of the dog, baby bird resuscitation. No thing. Like, why didn't she just spoon it into her mouth? Why did it have to be mouth to mouth? Why we gotta do that? What? Oh my God. So gross. Chilchuck's like, I'm certainly glad I didn't mess with the elf magician. So they find out that they don't know a lot about the elf magician, but he's the one governing the dungeon. And if people start to act up and when outsiders excessively meddle with the dungeon, then they show up to basically kill them. He creates monsters, controls them at will, alters the terrain, which is a problem, and can kill any creature by flipping through his book. So basically, the big question is, a couple questions. The elf, how'd they get the book? Where's the book from? Obviously, they've had hundreds of years to study the book, and they've had an entire playground, aka the dungeon, to mess with. So we're up against some really bad odds, right? We're up against some very bad odds. We have an elf that's been able to play around with this dungeon for hundreds of years and knows it like the back of their hand. They also have a magic book of spells that... Now, the question is, the Book of Spells does offer a little bit of leeway, because if they can find a way to destroy the Book of Spells or get it away from the elf, it might prevent them from doing magic, which is something. So that's good. That's good. But also they have control of Fallon. So I'm going to make my predictions right now. They are going to be wrong, but I'm going to make my predictions now. I think that at some point that the power of sibling love will work. And I think Laios, because here's the thing, we've established that Fallon can use magic without incantation or without spells. Fallon is able to do that, right? So at some point, I think that the only weakness the elf magician has is they need the book. They need the book. You get rid of the book, then at least I think its magic is limited. So we know Fallon doesn't need a book or incantations or spells to do magic. So at some point, I think Laios' sibling no jutsu will reach Fallon's heart and override the elf's magic, and Fallon will destroy the book of spells that the elf has been using, and then the elf magician will not be able to do magic anymore, and it'll unravel everything in the dungeon. I'm calling that now. I'm breaking a prediction that that's going to happen. But you know what? I have been completely thrown off by this series, so I fully anticipate being wrong, and we'll see about that. So then the question is, Chilchuck's like, well, was it Marcelle's magic that lured the elf there? I think it was to a degree because the elf seems very familiar with the dungeon, especially as you get deeper into it. So I feel like the elf probably sensed that somebody was meddling in magic that was unfamiliar to them, and that drew them there. But I also think it was the fact that the dragon got killed because the dragon was theirs, right? It could be because they took down the dragon. Absolutely. And then when you kill them, you end up ticking him off. And that's why the brother said not to mess with the red dragon. I love to say my brother's always right. I love her. She's great. So then Chilchuck's like, look, and I don't blame Chilchuck for being like, we've got to get out of here because we're messing with magic that's far beyond us. And now they have Fallon, and they don't know that Fallon's working for the magician, but that's the case. Fallon is now the new minion of the elf, which is so wild. But Chilchuck's like, if we don't leave now and restock and come up with a plan, they're going to kill themselves. Because Chilchuck's like, Laios and Marcille are so obsessively dedicated to Fallon, which you can't blame them. But Chilchuck's like, they're going to be reckless. And we've already seen, oh my God, we've already seen Marcille be reckless. So Chilchuck's like, it's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse. What I like about this is that you can't really tell if Cinchi can see through Chilchuck in this moment and know why he's saying what he's saying, or if Cinchi hasn't decided for himself what he wants to do, or if Cinchi is mulling it over. I mean, part of you would think that because Cinchi decided to stay behind and watch them, that he was going to choose to go with them, because Cinchi has many flaws. But Cinchi does have a sense about him that he is honorable and has integrity. Now, whether or not that translates all the time, is up to us, the audience. But Cinchi believes that he's honorable and has integrity. So if he believes that this is the honorable thing to do, he's going to do it. And so I think seeing how Chilchuck freaks out and reacts, Cinchi would have an opposite reaction to it. So I think Cinchi was going to stay with them all along. But Chilchuck's like, I'm not going to end up dead. I need my stuff so I can leave. And Cinchi is like, you know what? Take Chilchuck out, get him his stuff. It'll be fine. Whether or not Cinchi knew that Chilchuck was going to change his mind or not, I think is a good point of conversation. Do we think that Cinchi knew that Chilchuck was going to stay with them, or did he genuinely believe that he was going to leave? We don't know. We don't know at this point, which is kind of the fun thing about it. But him saying, I know, he's like, it'll be fine. He's like, you're making the right decision. Just go on. Now, of course, the question is, where did Fallon go? Nobody saw another red dragon leave. So how does this work? I don't know. So anyway, I do like the idea that they say that the city's residents are there and their spirits are still sane. They're not like a crazy ghost, but they only appear when they want to be seen. So it almost seems like the ghosts are trying to tell the elf, like, hey, let us rest in peace. Please stop this. You're not going to bring Delgal back. Come on now. So I don't know. Again, I feel like Laios and Fallon are the descendants of them. So we'll see. But yeah, something was drug away. Something was drug away, and we don't exactly know what it is. But the dragon's body is completely gone, which is insane to me. I just don't know. I wonder. I don't think that the elf has taken into account that the person they resurrected was a prodigy level mage. I don't think the elf realizes that. I don't think the elf knows that Fallon is this mage. I think the elf just sees, you have the blood of the dragon. Why do you look like a human? Turn back into a dragon. And doesn't realize that Fallon is actually a mage and has all this magical ability. I don't think the elf knows that, and I don't think the elf cares because they're so obsessed with finding Delgal. So I think that that's going to bite the elf in the ass in the end, but we obviously have to get there. But yeah, as time goes on, I love that Chilchuck talks about how they defeated the dragon, and the sister orc, she keeps being like, oh, well, that was impressive. That was really nice. Your friends did all that for you and rescued you. Warrior, you should have courage. I do disagree a little bit with Chilchuck. I know that what Laios did was a gamble, but I do think it took courage for him to stick his foot in that mouth and to have faith that it was going to work out. I do think that it takes some courage. It turned out okay, but it was a stupid gamble. Well, thank goodness Fallon healed his leg before all this went down. And he's like, Namari and Shuro left, but looking back, maybe they were the smarter ones. I should have been less stubborn and followed suit as well. And then I love that the orc sister is like, so you're saying it would have been better to lose your friends. I love that angle of there. Like, I love, again, we do diverse body types. I love the angle of her like snarling up at him on the steps. But yeah, Chilchuck's like, maybe it was smarter of them to have left while the going was good. But I love the orc sister saying, yeah, that might have been the smarter move, but is that the more honest and courageous one? Or is it better to stick with your friends when the going gets tough? And I love that Chilchuck's like, I don't know. But what does he say there? I love how he's like, I don't know. He looks so David Tennant there. Maybe my decision to join Laios made it harder for him to back out. Because then, yeah, you have people that back you and surround you in your decisions. So when people start believing you, it's harder for you yourself to change your mind. And maybe Chilchuck feels like part of the reason they kept going was because there were all these people backing him. Oh, he's like, we had the dragon meat here, and then we ate the dragon meat, and the orc, sister's like, well, as you should, It just was so sweet. And then saying, how would you manage to survive the encounter after the magician showed up? And then, well, the mage held up against our attacks. I like that the one orc says she seemed clueless, though, and Chilchuck is, trust me, she is. She used shady magic back there. Even if she makes it out of the dungeon, I doubt she could lead a decent life. I was like, oh! I like that Chilchuck is wary of Marcille because he just found out she had this secret ability, and it probably feels like a mimic to him. It probably feels like a trick. But I don't know. I feel like Marcille could lead a decent life, but she's not going to. Marcille being a bad girl was not on my bingo card, but I am here for it. Like I said, Marcille jumped up a notch for me. I love it. I also love that they took the frog suits. You know what? Just in case. They're stupid, every last one of them. How am I supposed to reason with folks like that? And the orc's like, so are you going to trick them? He's like, if a couple lies get me back to the surface, I'm all for it. My life comes before everything else. And then I like the orc is like, no, you're not being a coward. You're just telling a lie. You just admit you don't want to see them die. I love that. Like, she just reads right through him in that moment and is like, you can be honest. You care about them too much and you don't want to see them actually die because they're your friends. It's not about the money, is it? Just looks right through him. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I loved that. And then Kinsuke, as we come to find out, ends up on the bridge. You're the smartest one of us all. But where did the blood stains go to? Like someone dragged a body along. I don't know. I see the moment that the elf turned, I thought Phelan back into the dragon. So, but then why would it be like a body dragged along? Unless Fallon passed out from the transformation and the elf just drug her along. I don't know. But then they go back and, oh, Laios. Oh, my sweetheart Laios. The moment you walk in, he's like, I gotta go find her. And I don't blame him. It's his sister, damn it. And then Chilchuck's like, you need to calm down. He's like, I want to say something to you both. He's like, let me go first before you say it. But he says, I love that Chilchuck gets down on his level and says, I can't imagine how you must be feeling losing your sister after just getting her back. But we can't continue to be down here like this, as we found out. He's like, it's going to end up with one of us dying. And Laios is like, oh. And he's like, please. He's like, we need to go. And I love that Chilchuck has the tears in his eyes. He's like, we have to be strong. And we have to head above ground. I love that. It's like, and it sucks so much because we made it to this point. We made it 5 levels down. We made it to this point and we fought so hard to get here and we got to Fallon and did everything. And then you got to start all back over again. And he says, he's like, I don't want to lose you guys. He's like, my feelings don't match the affection you have for your sister, but I've got the three of you to lose. So he says, let's go inform the Lord of the Island about the magician. And that could prompt some action. Now, I don't know. The Lord of the Island, I'd have to go back and look at images of them side by side. I can't tell if the Lord of the Island is Laios' dad. He just has thinner hair than he did in the flashback with Laios and Fallon. If the Lord of the Island is his dad or his uncle or his cousin or two totally different people, they kind of looked really similar. So I don't know if they're the same people, but they also didn't seem like they were going to do much. So he's like, we gather funds and enlist help and maybe get Namari and Shuro on the gang. Who knows? Or maybe Kabru. Maybe Kabru could join them. That'd be amazing. I would love that. And he's like, with enough preparation, we can reach this level quicker next time. Yeah, he's like, we got the frog suits now. We got the frog suits. We know about the water walking. We know to avoid the Kelpie. We know how to defeat the Undine. It's like, we could get here a lot. We could speed run this. We did all the work. It's kind of like when you play the original Legend of Zelda on the original Nintendo and you get to the bottom right when you face the dragon and you die and you get sent back to the top. The next time you go through, you already know what to expect. So you just speed run through. You just speed run through. You know exactly what traps to... It's like when you get a game over and you start over, but you know exactly the map of the dungeon. You know the layout. So you're like, oh, I'm just going to go right through all this. Chilchuck's like, we'll just do that all over again. And it hurts so much to see Laios look so defeated. But he's like, please. It hurts so much. Also, they make my boy Laios. He's just so muscular in that scene. Like, did the anatomy of that shot with him... I shouldn't be horny on Maine for Laios right now, but he looked really good in this episode, in last week's episode. He looked really good. I was like, damn it. And even poor Marcille, who's sitting there with her eyes shut, like she could probably hear him. I feel so bad for Laios, though. And then since she says we're running short on seasonings and other ingredients, so we need to go back. I want to make sure we can whip up something delicious for Fallon. So we need to head back to the city and replenish our supplies. It sucks so much. We had such a good time last week. We were doing so well. We were having such a great time. And now everybody's crying. The red dragon's been slain. Well, supposedly. When you're ready and return down here. Okay, we'll do what we can to help. At least they have help. At least the orcs are like, hey, we'll help you. You defeated the red dragon for us. All right, we'll help you all out. You know, you guys got the roughed into the stick. I just feel so bad for Laios. Like, he's about to cry in that moment. He literally looks like he's about to cry, and it hurts so much. Oh. He's like, forgive me for making you worry. Like, he's too perfect. Laios is too perfect. He's precious and perfect, and I love him. Oh. Poor Marcille. I love our three dudes. And then the episode just ends. I love our three dudes. Like, all together there. They're gonna have to drag Marcille out. She's gonna be like, no. She's gonna be that meme where it's that, like, Wolverine dog thing. It's like, she's just gonna be that as they drag her out of the dungeon. Just knock her out through it. What about her staff, though? Her staff broke, didn't it? Did it break? I want to go back to that. Did her staff break? I feel like it did. Did it break? I feel like do we have her? Did we see her staff? Okay, no, her staff's there, but it is broken. Okay. Oh my God. Y'all. I did not walk into this episode expecting all of this insanity, but the stakes have been raised. Welcome to the second half of season 1. I don't know where we're going to from here. We're obviously going back to the surface, but as far as the story goes, what I do know is we have let some dough chill and some steaks be prepping, and we need to get on and start making some lunch. Shall we? Some delicious food? I think so. So we're going to get on to that. So if you're not sticking around for the cooking segment, I hope you enjoyed this reaction discussion. What a wild time. And I am looking forward to next week. Y'all have no idea. So in the meantime, we've got some cooking to do, but I'll I'll talk to y'all about the end of this episode after we're done making some delicious dungeon meals. So let's get cracking, shall we? Well, hey everybody, my brother's here. We've got oil burning, so we need to get to work. We have been, as you can see, hard at work getting. I've had the steaks in the oven for about 45 minutes now. The recipe called for them being on 125 degrees Fahrenheit to get to a rare state, but my oven would only go as low as 170. So that just means they're more cooked. So that's a good thing. So what we're gonna do is take these two steaks out of here, as we have them on here, that they've been going on. We've had them prepped overnight, and we are gonna put them in the oil. It is smoking, but that's okay. Oh my God. It said to get it hot. And so that's what we're doing. I've got a fan on, we're gonna be great. All right, so while this is doing this, and we're gonna have a great British bake-off day today, because while this is, we're gonna get this out of here, I'm gonna put it in the sink real quick. While that is going on, it has told us to crank up our oven for our pizza to 550. Which is pretty hot. So we're gonna crank up that oven to 550. If it'll go up that high. It seems really high, but it says 550 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're gonna go for it. All right. And so what we're gonna do now is just casually like roll our steaks over, sear them. I'm gonna put it on that side. And we're gonna sear our two steaks. All right. So, our thing says for browning the steak for this week, we've got the oil in the pan. I used about a tablespoon of oil and heated it up along with the pan. And now the smoke's died down a little bit, so that's good. And then it said to form a crust on the side, you take about 1 to 2 minutes flipping the steaks and repeating it. And you can use tongs to sear the edges, and the process is going to warm up the steak even more, which right now it looks like it's getting from like medium rare to like a medium, which is kind of how I like my steak. I like my medium, bro.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, I don't like it well done, but I don't want it to be mooing at the same time, or in this case, it's a dragon roaring at the same time. So, occasionally it said you could add some butter to the pan for extra richness, but we've got the oil on there already. And then we gotta let the steaks rest. So these steaks are gonna get done well before the pizza, which is fine because we'll let them kind of cool off for a second. This little steak is gonna get done way earlier than the other one. So we're gonna, if I poke in there, it looks like it's actually about, that one's about done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a plate, and I'm gonna put our little steak on this one. Ta-da! And then as far as this other steak, I don't know, bro, does that look about done?
Yeah, a little bit more.
Maybe a little bit more?
Just to be sure.
Okay, a little bit more just to be sure. All right, let me get a piece of paper real quick. While that is heating up and preheating, we'll be getting our pizza crust ready. We've been letting our pizza crust set overnight. I've made crust. I'm so excited, Brosa. It's gonna be great. My brother looks so skeptical. I also went ahead and chopped up, it said 1/4 of an onion, so I took 1/4 of an onion. Since she had it in the episode looking like little tiny chunks of onion, so that's kind of what I did here. And then we are gonna slice up slices of fresh mozzarella to put on.
Good.
Good. What do you think I was gonna use? Cheddar cheese? And then we also have minced garlic. So I'm assuming the minced garlic, since we don't have a sauce for the pizza, that this is gonna kind of give it a bit more texture. And then I thought, they don't do this in the episode, but when we eat it, I'm probably gonna get some pizza sauce out to the side, and it'll be like a breadstick that you just kind of dip it in like a cheese stick. This seems more like a cheese stick than a pizza to me, but anyway, this looks pretty seared. I feel like it's not running out blood.
Well, I can put it on the plate and cut it open.
I feel like it's done. I feel like it looks done. We're gonna call it done. Now we're gonna keep this steak skillet on here. I'm gonna take that steak off. Alright, that looks really good, actually. We're gonna take that off and we're gonna reduce this heat down quite a bit and let that kind of sit for a hot second. It said you could make a wine reduction if you wanted to, that what you could do is add a cup of stock as well as a cup of red wine to make like a reduction. We're gonna try it. And it said it's probably gonna be smoky because this pan is smoky as hell. So I'm gonna let it cool down for just a second. But it would let you do that. And then it says stir with a spoon until the sauce is reduced. You can add gelatin to thicken it quickly, or you can add chopped herbs like rosemary or thyme, or in our case, we're gonna use some extra sage to go through that. So, I've got a little bit of a spoon. Be good, Broseph. Little huckleberry. All right, so while that's going down, we're gonna take a cup of the stock. Do that on there. All right, we're gonna set that down. It's that pan smells smoky from that oil, but that's okay. And then we're gonna have a cup of this at the ready. I don't know if it's gonna. Ooh. Oh, that's hot. Oh, there we go. Okay. And then real quick, while it's bubbling, oh my gosh, we're gonna add. Oh, there we go. All right. Now we're gonna stir this up in that with the wine and the stock together. I'm glad that simmered down just a wee bit. All right. So it says just to stir until it, like stir with the spoon until it is reduced. Okay. And then add some, it says you'll end up with more sauce because it will evaporate. Ooh, let's quickly. Ooh, I guess you have to keep stirring. I did not anticipate it bubbling up like that. Okay. It is like, I'm gonna have to like ventilate this entire, I'm gonna have to ventilate this entire house to get all the smoke out. I'm glad I don't have the fire detector on right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's off, because otherwise this whole house would be making some noise. I've never made a reduction. I guess it's gonna be like, it's gonna be kind of like a little sauce and do that. So we'll see how that turns out. I kind of want to add some of the sage into it, but I'm afraid to stop stirring. So, because I think it's gonna bubble up. But we're gonna just get some sage there. We're gonna stop for a hot second. Let it bubble up. I'm gonna take some sage. Put some sage down in that. That is gonna like instantly wither. It is gonna like instantly wilt. But it said it was gonna make it more aromatic, so why not? Plus our oven is still preheating for the pizza, so that's totally fine. So while we're doing this, I do have some question and answers from our patrons. And I wanted to wait until this video to ask because these are questions for both myself and my brother. So, Lyndon asks, how far would you make it on MasterChef?
I'll be generous and say first round.
What'd you say?
First round.
Would I make it past the first round?
Maybe qualifiers.
Or would I only make it to the first round? You got on the show, that's as far as you're getting.
You got a congratulations. Try again next time from Gordon Ramsay.
Do you think I'd be the first out?
Possibly.
So then they also asked, how far would you make it on MasterChef?
I just said it, first round.
Oh, you don't think you make it past the first round either?
No.
Oh dang, I've not watched MasterChef, so my brother has, so he knows. Interesting. Okay. How far do we think that Cinchi would make it on MasterChef? Finals. I was gonna say, I feel like Cinchi would at least make it to finals, if not win, because since she's creative and thinks outside the box and would be able to work with this. interesting. There's a little bit of charredness in there from the steak, but they didn't tell me to get that out of there, so we'll just have to like watch that. All right, so then Sanveer Bindra asks, since we're at the halfway point of the season, what's been your favorite episode so far? Well, I just watched episode 13. And so I would say my favorite set of episodes as of episode 13 are the trilogy of the Red Dragon episodes. So 11, 12, and 13 in a row have been my favorites so far. I was not expecting the twists of episode 13. And so, yes, I would say those have been my favorites. Do you know what happens in episode 13, Broseph? I'll let you know.
They resurrected her with the...
They did resurrect Fallon, and now the elf has shown up and ran off with Fallon, and that's all we know. That's all we know right now, but yeah. Those would be my favorites so far. And then, my dog is being so loud. Okay, this is looking interesting. Oh, it is thickening up in a very sauce-like way. I'll let my brother show you all. It's like thickening up into like a
kind of hard to see with all the steam.
It's a gravy! Kind of. It's hard to see with the smoke. We'll see what it looks like on the steak later. Anyway, so their other question was, if a Dungeon Meshi tie-in video game existed, what kind of game would you want it to be?
Personally, a survival.
A survival game? That's not the direction I was going with it.
You fight monsters, you collect the materials, and then you can cook up meals to give you boosts.
Okay. I was thinking more of like, is it Breath of the Wild where they have to like cook all the food in Legend of Zelda?
Yeah, the Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, yeah.
See, my thing would be, I would want it to be a game where you have to go out and find different ingredients, and then in order to pass each level, you have to create a dish to get past the level, kind of like what they do in each episode. But the quality of the items you get, and the amount of the items you get, and your skill at, it's kind of like Oregon Trail where you have to like cross the river and you have to navigate it a certain way, and that determines like the outcome. So if you are a terrible cook and you don't cook the dish right, then I would love it to be kind of like Final Fantasy X, where there's 3 different tracks where you have like a good ending, a bad ending, and the okay ending, and how you cook each dish determines what kind of ending you get. That sounds very elaborate, but I think it would be a fun game, and I would probably do horrible at it. So, all right, we're gonna like let this simmer down and reduce and kind of go from there. I don't know if I'm doing that correctly. It just says we'll end up with a sauce. I am assuming that's what this is, but this was something extra, so we'll just see what happens with that. So anyway, all right, so what we're gonna do now that we've had all of that is I'm gonna put these up real quick. All right, and I'm actually gonna grab, we're gonna just let that simmer on low, because we're done there. All right, so what they recommend is that we have actually been heating up the pizza pan in the oven. And so what it's gonna have us do is take this parchment paper with the dough and then slide it onto the pan, which makes a lot of sense, because if you try to take the, it's a baking sheet. You bake cookies on it, so it's not gonna catch on fire. It makes sense, because if you just try to transport the dough from there to the pan, it would like not work well. So that's what the recipe said. Isekai Kitchen told us to do this, and a kitchen with the title Isekai in its name is one we can trust. So my brother is just like mouth gaped open like. So what they tell us to do with the pizza crust at this point is that shape the dough on the parchment paper using your hand and stretching it out. So as you can see, we have this nice little dough ball, and so we're gonna start taking our hand, stretching it out. So stretching out the pizza dough. I'm sure I'm not doing this right. I know that there's people that are like pizza connoisseurs that are like, what are you doing with your life? But I feel like this is fine. All right. So it said there, as you stretch the pizza dough out, shape the dough on the parchment paper using your fingers to stretch it out. I did about 6 inches for each mini pizza. Thicker the pizza, the thinner pizza is gonna be crispy and more, and then the thicker is gonna be more bread-like. I kind of want it a little bit in between, so I feel like if we stretch out just to the ends, that feels about right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think so. I don't want to get too thin because I don't want the stuff to, I want to kind of make like a little crust on the side, like a little pizza. So make it look kind of like a little pie. Okay. And so then what it says from there is if you're happy with the size, using your 2 index fingers or pinkies, gently rim around the edge of the pizza to make the crust, which I feel is like this. Okay. All right. Now it says top with the toppings of your choice. Don't overcrowd the pizza or it could bake weirdly. If you want a crispier pizza, bake the dough first for 5 minutes before adding the toppings. Do we think we should do that?
If you think you can pull it off.
I mean, let's get the other dough out and make sure we can get these 2 on there. All right. Ooh, that is actually starting to smell. That sauce is starting to smell a little bit saucy. Okay, I think this was the dough that I was less happy with, so I'll take this one. That dough I was happy with. This one was a little bit more of a problem child. But we'll go there. All right. So yeah, there's some like flour that's resided there. I'm gonna probably stick with that one. I feel like I'm gonna get this out to the side a little bit more because I want to stretch them out because they're gonna expand a little bit. Okay. I feel like that doesn't look bad. That seems to be decent. Right? Alright. I think we can bake that for 5 minutes. And I'm just going to check my phone real quick to get the time. Yeah, I think we can bake that for 5 minutes. Or do we think getting it in and out of the oven is going to be a problem?
Getting it in and out is probably going to be a problem. So.
We'll just go and put the toppings on. So what we're going to do is take, they said, a tablespoon of minced garlic. So this is 1/3 of a tablespoon. So we're just going to take a little bit out. We're going to put 1/3 on each one and then split the last 1/3. So this kind of gets a little bit of some garlic in on it. I love minced garlic. Minced garlic is garlic's just good all around. All right, so we're gonna get a little bit of that on there. And then we're gonna take 1 more 1/3. I'm gonna try to get the juices out of it. And then plug away, put some of that on there. And have some of this. That seems like a lot of garlic. Oop. We're gonna put that on there. Okay. Minced garlic, check. All right, next thing we're going to do is take our mozzarella and we're gonna make some slices with it. I got this little thing of mozzarella because I didn't think the pizzas were gonna be very big. So I thought, well, this way we can have the mozzarella.
Where's your shredder?
What do you mean shredder? We're gonna cut slices.
You've already committed a sin.
What are you talking about?
There is a device made that is also named after one of the best villains in cartoon history that you were supposed to use for cheese.
Look at these slices of mozzarella.
Specifically, mozzarella going on top of a pizza.
Look, I feel as if this is perfectly fine. Alright, it said not to overcrowd, so we're gonna get it there. Huckleberry, you probably good, buddy. Alright, So I feel like if we put that on there with the onions, and then I put a little bit more. I know I'm committing a cardinal sin. I know. I am fully understanding the limitations of my cooking prep, but this is why I would not make it past the first level of MasterChef.
No, you'd have Chef Ramsay looking at you like you're a donkey.
I am an idiot sandwich. Okay, that seems good on that. And then we're going to put in some of this, our onions. I feel like I cut way too many onions, but that's okay. We might take the rest of the onions and sit it in the reduction and kind of let them soak up, kind of like what we did with the wine. All right. Does that seem like enough topping?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it is. I feel like the cheese. Do we think that's enough cheese on there?
Yeah.
Okay. So here is our task. Our task is getting this onto that. We can do this. We got this. We got this. This is great. All right, so what we're gonna do is open this oven up. That's a hot oven. We're gonna get this tray out. We are going to
hold the tray up there, and then you, with your ungloved hand, slide it onto there.
Why do you know things? Oh! Ah! Oh my god. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. We're solid. Everything is fine. Oh my god.
Did you screw up, Cloud?
Okay, no, we're great. Look at this. Look at that. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Set it in the middle.
I'm trying to. Okay, look at that. So easy. All right, and so then we have to let them bake for 9 to 15 minutes. All right, well, in 9 to 15 minutes, we're gonna come back and get ourselves some steak and pizza. My brother is concerned about the sauce, so. Remember the orc concoction? That might be it. The reduction was reduced to ashes of a dragon. It was pretty bad. There was nothing left. So we lessons were learned, and we did get a good steak, a good looking steak, and the pizza has turned out. I don't think I put enough mozzarella on it. I tried not to overcrowd, but I feel like I could have put more mozzarella on it, but the onions were great. So we're gonna start with the steak. I took a little piece of the one steak that was smaller, and we cut the bigger steak in half just to make sure it was good. So, I mean, you can see it's definitely done. It's not well done, but it's like medium well. The little one was. Now we can see the big one and see what it looked like. Again, we had it in the oven on 170 for about 45 minutes just to sit. And then we did the whole thing after it, searing it. Okay, that one is more medium. It's got more pink on it. So the smaller steak definitely got more well done. This one is definitely more medium. Okay, I'm not sad about not having the reduction because this one's pretty good. The dragon meat turned out really great. And this was sirloin. So I'd imagine with a flank steak, it probably would be a little bit more pink in the middle because it's not as thin as this one, but I'm glad we did the sirloin. Now, the pizza. I want to take a part that has a significant amount of cheese, which is this one. The crust, I'm not gonna lie, the crust still looks a teensy bit doughy, but it tastes like a breadstick, honestly. The outside of the crust is really done and fine. And I'll probably eat the toppings and stuff off of it. The inside of the dough itself is okay. I don't like seeing that one line where it's really thick, so I'm probably not going to eat a lot of that. Which is sad, because I was really excited about, I think I just made the dough too thick. I really think I could have gotten it thinner, and it would have been fine, but I'm going to eat the toppings and the outside edge, but I'm probably not going to get too much into. It looks done, though. Like, it looks like it's cooked. It's just, it's cooked. It's not raw, but it's not as crispy as it could be. So I think you could eat it and be fine, but definitely going to eat all the steak. I'm going to be selective about the pizza, but for making my first crust, I don't think it's that bad. But I definitely have learned some things about spacing it out. So if we do redo a pizza on the show, we'll know a little bit more about what to do. But definitely not trying that reduction. My whole home is smoke now, and I'm going to air it all out. So, what a befitting post-dragon fight event. Airing your house out of dragon smoke, that seems fitting. But my brother and I are going to enjoy our lunch now. But episode 13, wild. So I hope you all enjoyed the reaction and discussion and this cooking segment. I'm excited to hear your comments down below. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with episode 14 of Dungeon Meshi. Bye!